Imagine spending 35 years paying faithfully into your pension. You never stop contributing, you invest the same amount every month, and your investments achieve exactly the same performance as someone else's. Yet when retirement arrives, they have more than £100,000 extra. Not because they earned a bigger salary, not because they discovered the next winning share, and not because they took more risk. They made one decision you may be overlooking. They checked what their pension was charging them. A difference of only around 1 percentage point in annual costs can look harmless, but when that cost is taken from a growing pension every year for decades, the final difference can become enormous. So how can a small fee consume more than £100,000? And should you immediately move your pension to the cheapest provider? Let's find out.
Pension charges rarely feel urgent because they are quietly removed from the pension itself. But every pound taken in fees is £1 that can no longer grow for retirement. Click confirmation. By the end of this video, you will understand how pension charges compound, where those costs may be hiding, when switching could save money, and why transferring without checking the small print could be an expensive mistake. If you enjoy practical videos about UK pensions and retirement, subscribe because we upload videos like this every week. Transition. To see why fees matter, meet two savers whose retirement plans look almost identical, at least until the final numbers appear.
The 1% difference. Meet Oliver and Rachel. Both contribute around £500 a month to defined contribution pensions for 35 years. Their investments earn the same hypothetical return before charges. Oliver's total annual cost is around 0.4%. Rachel's is closer to 1.4%. The difference is only 1 percentage point. That may not sound serious, but pension fees are applied year after year to a growing balance. Using an illustrative gross return of around 6%, Oliver could finish with roughly $650,000. Rachel could end with just over $520,000. The difference is around $130,000. These figures are not a forecast or guarantee.
Actual outcomes depend on contributions, returns, inflation, fees, and market conditions. Rachel did not simply pay 1 extra percentage point once. She paid higher costs repeatedly, while also losing the future growth that the deducted money could have earned. That is compounding working in reverse. Open loop. But where does that extra cost come from? Because your pension may not display one simple number labeled total price. Where pension charges can hide. Defined contribution pensions can include administration, investment fund, transaction, and sometimes advice charges. Some providers combine costs into one figure. Others separate them across several documents. Comparing only the most obvious fee may therefore give you an incomplete picture. Money Helper notes that transferring may reduce fees, but the saving must be weighed against benefits that could be lost. For qualifying workplace pensions used for automatic enrollment, charges in the default arrangement are generally capped at 0.75% a year, although transaction costs and certain other expenses sit outside that cap. But the cap does not cover every pension, investment choice, or cost.
The correct question is not, what is the management fee? It is, what is the total annual cost of owning and investing through this pension? Pattern interrupt. A 1% fee does not remove 1% once. It takes a slice this year, then another slice next year, and every slice removes future growth. Why people ignore fees? The first reason is that performance receives more attention. A fund that recently gained 10% looks exciting. A 1% charge looks insignificant. But recent performance may not continue, while the fee is normally charged whether the investment rises or falls. The second reason is complexity. Old workplace pensions may be spread across several providers using different language and charging structures. The third reason is fear. People know transfers can go wrong, so they avoid reviewing anything. But reviewing a pension does not force you to move it. It gives you information.
Cheaper does not automatically mean better. The cheapest pension is not always the most suitable pension. A slightly higher charge may pay for useful features, suitable investment management, or better retirement options. Moving into a cheaper but unsuitable fund could expose you to too much risk or too little growth. A provider with limited withdrawal options or poor administration may also create problems later. The objective is not to chase the lowest number at any cost. It is to ask whether you receive reasonable value for what you pay. The transfer trap. Before combining or transferring any pension, check what you would give up. Older plans may include protected tax-free cash, guaranteed annuity rates, bonus terms, protected access ages, life insurance, or favorable charging arrangements. Money Helper warns that consolidation can offer lower fees and simpler administration, but may also mean losing valuable benefits. Defined benefit pensions require even greater caution because they promise an income based on scheme rules rather than simply providing an investment pot.
The FCA says safeguarded defined benefit benefits are valuable, and regulated transfer advice is normally required when those benefits exceed £30,000. So do not transfer a guaranteed pension merely because another product advertises a lower fee. They are not equivalent products. How to make the $100,000 decision safely. First, create a pension inventory. List every workplace and personal pension, including old accounts from previous jobs. Record the balance, pension type, charges, and special benefits. Second, ask each provider for a full cost breakdown in pounds and percentages. Request every ongoing, transfer, and exit charge. Third, compare like with like. Compare each fund's purpose, risk, diversification, and retirement strategy, not only last year's return. Fourth, check your current workplace pension before moving hold pots. Your employer may have negotiated lower charges than you could obtain individually. Confirm whether transferred money receives the same terms. Fifth, calculate the long-term effect.
Test several fee levels using cautious return assumptions. Do not focus only on this year's cost. Look at what the difference could become over 10, 20, or 30 years. Sixth, read the transfer paperwork for guarantees and protected benefits. If anything is unclear, stop before signing. Finally, consider regulated advice when the value is large or the benefits are complicated. Appropriate advice may cost far less than surrendering an irreplaceable benefit. Open loop. But what if your pension is already in a low-cost workplace fund? Should you do nothing? Not necessarily. Fees are only one part of value. What else to review? Check whether the investment still matches your retirement timeline. Some default funds gradually reduce risk as a selected retirement date approaches. If the date on your account is wrong, the strategy may begin changing earlier or later than you expect. Also consider whether you plan to buy an annuity, use drawdown, or take lump sums. A strategy designed for one route may not suit another. And reducing fees cannot rescue unsuitable investments, inadequate contributions, or panic selling during market falls. Charges matter because they are one factor you can often identify and control. They are not the entire plan. Recap. Let's bring everything together. Two people can contribute the same amount, receive the same gross investment return, and still retire with dramatically different balances. In our illustration, a 1 percentage point annual fee gap over 35 years created a difference of around $130,000. The saver did not need a secret investment. They simply kept more of the return already being generated. But switching is not automatically the answer.
Before moving any pension, compare total costs, investment suitability, service, retirement options, and guarantees. The goal is not the cheapest pension. It is the strongest value after every cost and benefit is considered.
Outro. Pension fees are easy to ignore because they are quiet. They do not arrive as a monthly bill. They simply reduce a future balance you have not reached yet. So find your latest pension statement. Look beyond the headline balance. Ask what you are paying in total. Ask what you receive in return. And ask what could be lost if you transfer. One careful decision today could leave more than £100,000 supporting your retirement decades from now. That difference could shape the freedom, security, and choices available later. If you found this useful, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more practical videos about UK pensions, retirement planning, and long-term financial security. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.